captives to the English, uh, it wasn't done quite the same way. They were made slaves in the Western, the current understanding of a slave. This was happening so much that the Tuscarora sent runners to the Mohawk and asked the Mohawk if they could come to the Mohawk territory and have safe passage there because of what was happening. And it was voted on, and that's essentially how they became the sixth nation of the Haudenosaunee. The road that the Tuscarora then took, there's two different roads that they took, but one of those roads is the same road that passed through Tioga. This was a very well known, very well used Iroquoian trade route, and not just Iroquoian, but it was at this time it was in their territory. Now, the territory itself of Tioga, um, the territory itself of Tioga was not per se in the heart of the Kanien'kehá, the Mohawk people. Um, it was one of those areas that was used for trade and such, and it was territory that was taken from the people who were actually from there. In the old days, all of that area of Pennsylvania going just west of the Susquehanna River was Lenape lands. The word itself, Susquehanna, is a Lenape word, meaning the black river, the dark river, the muddy, nasty, dirty river. Then some Mohawk came from the north. And these Mohawk, my Lenape ancestors called them Susquehannock, which means the people of the dirty river, because they forced us out of that territory, all the way down, running towards Harrisburg, down the Susquehanna, uh, and eventually making it even down to the Chesapeake. But these Susquehannocks, or as they begin to call themselves, the Conestoga, they were and are Mohawk people. There were Mohawk who didn't want to join, who didn't want to follow the Kanien'kehá. They didn't want to follow the Great Law of Peace. So they defected, you could say. And they defected and went down there and began to conquer my Lenape ancestors' territories and take over that land. So today it's known as being Susquehanna land around the Susquehanna River, but west of the Susquehanna River around in Lycoming County, Pennsylvania. For instance, you have Picture Rocks, which is a known Lenape, had known Lenape settlements at the time of first contact in that area. And before, the area of Picture Rocks is actually called that because of the petroglyphs, the Lenape petroglyphs that were written on the rocks, on the stones there. Moving forward a bit more, hoping I'm not all over the place. The way the Haudenosaunee was and still is structured, you have the Mohawk who guard the eastern door, as it's called, the eastern door of the longhouse. And the Seneca, they guard the western door of the longhouse. So they are the warrior peoples that protect everyone on the inside. In the center, guarding that central fire of the longhouse is the Onondaga. In between the Onondaga and the Seneca, you have the Cayuga. And in between the Onondaga and the Mohawk, you have the Oneida. And that's how the Haudenosaunee is positioned in their territory. prior to Tuscarora coming in. And when the Tuscarora did come in, they're in the area of the Cayuga, Onondaga, Oneida, in that area traditionally. Now today they have their territory nearer to the Seneca Reservation out in western New York, around Cattaraugus and Salamanca, that area there around Buffalo. Whenever there was to be a meeting held, all of the chiefs of and clan mothers of these nations, the five nations, would meet at the council fire in Onondaga. So the Mohawk would come way from their territory in the Mohawk River and the Mohawk Valley. The Seneca will come from way over from around Niagara Falls, and everyone would come, from the Finger Lakes region, and they would go there in Onondaga for their meeting. Now, when people would marry, some people may just want to stay. You would have Mohawk living in Seneca country. You would have Seneca living in Onondaga territory. As we see plainly with the Tuscarora, you have Tuscarora living in the territory of Cayuga, Onondaga, and Oneida. So it was and is very fluid. I know people today who are Mohawk, but they're from the Onondaga Reservation, and people from my tribe, the Ramapo Lenape Nation. I have cousins who lived almost their entire life on the Onondaga Reservation, which is near Syracuse, New York, and their children are half Onondaga. And since we do traditionally take the tribe of our mothers, they're considered to be Onondaga people, but there's Lenape living there. This fluidity is something that is very indigenous. So to see Mohawk living in the area of Tioga, it's not a very far-fetched idea to grasp one's mind around from a historic, a very logical, and a factual perspective. I guess in closing, what I would like to say is, though I am an enrolled member in the Ramapo Lenape Nation, my mother is Mohawk, and I do sit in the Ganasesne, the Longhouse, and I'm learning these Longhouse ways, and I follow the Kanien'kehá, the great law of peace. The way the Creator, Yonde Gondizo, gave to the Haudenosaunee through that peacemaker, that prophet there, the peacemaker, which actually made this Haudenosaunee Confederacy, this government, with the very defined way it's structured, helped to create America the way that we see it today. It helped to create America idealistically as being a democratic union, as opposed to a union or a country that's ran and dictated by a monarch. The idea of democracy in this land and of the Constitution, the way we have it, it's known that it stems back to the Haudenosaunee. And credit has been given to the Haudenosaunee over the centuries by starting with the founding fathers of this country,